afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. We are now, I can't believe it, we're midway through November already. We just set the clocks back. I don't mind. I mean, no glare in my face coming down here to the TV station today, and I have an awesome show. We're going back to Bama like we went a month ago with that lovely girl, Melanie Carpenter. This time we got a redneck trailer owner, and he's a musician. We're going to talk to him, but before we get to do it, we've got to read these incredible underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. So we have Kingston Auto Body in Kingston. We have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We have Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We have Carver Jewelers, Ronald Darwin, Liley Delano Goldsmiths right here in the building. We have Diesel Plus Unlimited in Whitman. We have Rafferty's Pub in Marshfield. Great to have them back. We have Tom Otto in Middleborough. We have Bulldog Sports Cards in Middleborough. We have the Hanover House of Pizza in Hanover, makers of great Sicilian pizza, Greek salads, and they deliver and have great people, awesome people working there. We have Main Ingredient, Just Good Food in Middleborough. We have Rodney's Kitchen in Halifax. We have Big Lee's Automotive in Hanover. We have Genuine's Inspection in Middleborough. We have the Auto Shop in Hanover. Thanks, Ed Rooney. We have the Gunrunner LLC, the Second Amendment Freedom Store in Middleborough. And we have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialists right up the road here on Route 58 in Abington. I want to thank you guys very much. And now this gentleman goes by the name Ornette, which rhymes with Lornette, which is what I'd wear if I didn't have full cut lenses on my glasses, because that's right. I mean, well, why do you go by that? What does that mean? Why do people call you Ornette?
When I first got online in the 90s, my favorite musician was Ornette Coleman, and obviously nobody was going to take that. So there you go. Oh, okay. Well, good for you.
You struck while the iron was hot, as they say.
Yeah, it's a 25-year-old internet name.
Okay, gotcha. Wow, 25 years. You're definitely on the parade route for posterity there. Okay, well,
I'm an old guy.
All right, now we talked about what we're going to discuss today. You run a trailer park, you manage it, but you don't live there, right?
I do not. There is absolutely no way I could live there. No.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I wouldn't want to live in one either, but any port in a storm, as they say. All right, well, tell me about your history, though, first. You're a lifelong Bama buddy. Is that it?
I don't know where to say I'm from. I've spent half my life in Alabama and half in Texas, so I'm kind of both.
You're a gentleman of the South. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, never lived up north.
Okay, you ever been up here before? Ever been north of the MD line there?
Yeah, the farthest north I've been was outside of Ann Arbor. Pretty north.
Oh, okay, well that's Michigan. Well, we're in the northeast corner of the country. Obviously in New England here. Okay. Well, what did you aspire to as a child living in the South down there? And I've been to Texas. I've not been to Alabama. But tell me about your childhood. What was that like?
Moving all over the place, and but just in the South, and then we settled. I guess we settled in Alabama first, and then ended up in Texas for about 15 years, and then came back here. So it's just been back and forth. But the only civilized place I've lived was Austin. I was there for about 10 years.
Oh, hold up a second. Civilized? What do you mean? Wherever else you lived was just savages? Is that what you're saying, basically?
Just real trashy redneck. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think the trashy. I wouldn't call them trashy. I think there's a charm about the people. The people that are labeled like that, and it's a good label. If you're going to label something, you might as well make it a positive one. I figure.
I'm one of them for sure.
We went over that when we set the interview up, and you're proud of it. That's good. And that having been said, what would you describe? Just give me a little synopsis of what you describe as a redneck exactly. I mean, I know it's a certain part of the country, but what are the lifestyles that define a redneck? If you would.
Well, there's
lifestyle traits, whatever.
There's educated rednecks, and then there's just complete morons, obviously, which I guess you could say that about any segment of the population.
That's true.
I tend to deal with the moron types.
Okay. And a moron isn't necessarily a bad thing either. I mean, it's a simple. Yeah. If you can live a life like a moron, you can certainly be simple. You can have a simple.
Yeah, I'm one of those too. That you asked me about possibly playing, and this is why I stupidly moved my refrigerator by myself a couple of days ago, and that was a moronic thing to do.
Well, what did you do? Hurt your hand?
Yeah, got my wrist.
Ooh, wow. Do you have a family there? Do you live by yourself, or what's the story?
No, it's my whole family's here.
Oh, they are. Okay. Welcome.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Otherwise, I would love to be back in Austin.
Would it be out of line for me to ask you why you didn't have any help moving the fridge? I mean, if you have people there.
It was late at night, and I'm very OCD. I
Sure, I
couldn't
know
do it.
that's like, yeah, I know. You
Yeah,
want to get stuff done. I totally
yeah.
understand that. Believe me.
But I'm a tiny guy. I had no business doing that.
Well, okay, you're not tiny. You're not tiny. You just you just you fell in a little deeper than you expected. You bit off more than you could chew. Boy, we use cliches in this episode of Topic Time, but that's nothing wrong with those. I mean, what are they for if not to overuse every now and then? All
That's
right,
true.
okay. Well, tell me about your music anyway. I mean, even if you can't play it, tell me about. I mean, how incorporated into the music scene are you in your little next to the
Well,
woods?
in the
Neck of the
actual
woods.
music thing, I haven't really played professionally in years. I did it for about 15, 20 years. And when I moved back here in 2007, I didn't play out as much. And just because I didn't know anybody anymore, I'd been gone for a long time. And
Okay.
now I mainly just do guitar lessons, really.
You give lessons? You give
Yeah.
guitar lessons? Okay. Well, all right, we'll talk about that in a minute, but tell me about when you started, when did you start playing music? How young were you?
I started pretty late, about 15,
Okay.
1992, I think,
Oh, so you were born in 77?
76.
Oh, that's the spirit. Okay. Interesting. Right. I wouldn't have thought you were that old. I mean, you're 40 and you're 46 then.
Oh my
47.
God, I feel 76, but thank you.
Well, I said, well, the year you were born. Well, I'm 64, and when you were born, I was either a junior or a senior in high school, depending on what time of year it was. So,
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So you're about my mom's age.
yeah, probably. I
But
know.
everybody says I have a young mom. So there you go.
Well, right. She probably looks young. I mean, I reconnected with a high school classmate of mine who I met in 1976, and she's 6 months older than I am, and she still looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
Even with
My mom's beautiful still.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well, in terms of education, what was yours like? Did you go to college? Did you just do high school? Did you not?
No, I got an extremely stupid degree that I'm
Why do you keep saying? I
80,000.
mean, all right. Well, tell me about. All right. What do you mean by extremely stupid degree? I've never heard of that, but let's elaborate if you would.
It was in an actual city it would work. I got a degree in film and digital media,
Really?
and in a small place like this, it's pointless. We don't even have a radio station here.
Well, what school did you get the degree from?
University of North Alabama.
Okay. So are you okay? Well, you don't have a radio station. Are you really like right out in the sticks? Is that it?
I am way out here. It's beautiful out here, but we're just far away from everything.
I understand. Well, all right? What's the closest? How far do you have to drive to go to the supermarket? Like 20 minutes?
To a good one, yeah.
Okay, well, that is pretty far out. And I know we got places like up here in New England. There are certain roads in New Hampshire and Vermont you can drive without seeing a single house for 20 minutes. So I know what that's like. And I've done shows like that in people's home. I've gone to people's homes before the advent of Zoom, where I interview people in the homes and set the equipment up. And I really sucked at editing, so I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. But I know exactly what you're talking about. But you
That's
must.
how it is out here.
So what you do is you manage a trailer park, and how long have you been doing that for?
Well, my family owns it. I really just started doing it about 8 years ago, something like that.
Well, that's a while. I mean, and in order to, and what is it? What does managing the trailer park consist of? What exactly do you have to just make sure all the trailers are clean? Make sure that the hookups work for for the plumbing and all that stuff.
Making sure they'll be clean is never going to happen. It's a lot of babysitting.
Babies, all for real babies, for children.
No, just keeping them from killing each other and
Really?
burning the place down. Yeah, we had one catch on fire in May.
Yeah. What?
Intentionally, so somebody burned it down intentionally.
No kidding. Wow. Geez, well, that must be. Obviously, it's never a dull moment. Are you? I mean, you don't live. I assume you live pretty near the trailer park. You don't live in it. You must live near it.
Yeah, I'm about 3 miles away, I guess.
So I'm guessing what you're telling me is that a lot of the residents of these trailer parks aren't exactly the sharpest uh, nails in the coffin either, right?
No, out of 20 residents, there are probably five decent ones.
Wow. Well, how do you deal?
Yeah.
How do you deal with people acting? Now, I don't know if you have you watch. Can you watch TV from where you live? Do you have a I mean, obviously you have your phone.
Oh,
That
yeah.
works because I
Yeah.
don't know if you know. I mean, it's funny. I'm thinking of yesterday in the Congress House, in the House of Congress in the Capitol. There were a bunch of violent encounters between the between the people that were at the meetings. You may know about that. It was all over the news
Yeah.
yesterday. And it sounds to me like you got one of those one of those continuous people clashing with each other constantly. It's a thing kind of thing going on where you manage that place. So how do you deal with
Yeah,
it?
the like violent stuff doesn't happen all that much. It's just
Okay.
when they do get at each other, it does get pretty bad. We've had three get burned down since I've been there, and
How do you burn? Geez, I have to admit, I'm a little amazed that you can burn down a. I mean, those trailer parks are made of like steel, aren't they?
yeah,
All those
but you
trailers.
wouldn't. We have the body shop that my family runs is right next to it, so we have cameras all over the place outside. And the last one that they burned down, you wouldn't believe how quick that thing went up. Like as soon as you saw flames, within 2 minutes, the entire thing was engulfed.
Wow. And how did well, I assume you know all the people. I'm sure you know all the residences. They must pay rent, don't they? Isn't that
Yeah,
how that
most of half of them are 3-4 months behind, but they eventually pay.
they do? Okay. I mean, are they steadily employed or what? Or are they just
Oh
basically,
no, but the vast majority of them are not.
huh? It sounds like an interesting place to visit. Are there
I wouldn't suggest it.
I'm not I didn't say I mean I said interesting. I didn't say I'm gonna do it. But yeah, are there a lot of little I assume there are probably little children there. It sounds like it's Appalachian. Isn't that where you are? Are you
We're
on the
south of
Appalachian
that.
Trail?
We're pretty far south of that. I'm in I'm closer to cities in Tennessee than cities in Alabama, to be honest.
Okay, because I don't really know the geography of that area very well. I mean, I flown over Oklahoma once when I went to when I the only reason I was in Texas was because when my brother was living in California in 1997, I went out to visit him and we stopped in Dallas. And I remember, the flight attendants telling us, okay, we're flying over Oklahoma now, and we're going to land in Texas in 5 minutes or whatever. So that's that's all I remember. And then then once we left Texas, once we left the Dallas airport in Texas, the state is so large that even though I thought we'd already crossed off over into Arizona, but they, after 2 hours later, they said you're still over Texas. So that I
I've
know.
driven across it before.
What's that?
I've driven across Texas before. It took 2 days.
Oh, I'm sure it did. Yeah, it's a large state, for sure. All right. Well, what's your life like now? I mean, you don't. I mean, you have wife and kids or anything like that, or not?
Uh, no, I've been married, but luckily not now. My current wife is running around the house right now. I'm surprised she hasn't jumped up on the couch yet.
Oh
But
yeah.
she'll probably make an appearance at some point. You want to come say hi?
Oh, that'd be nice.
She's eating.
Okay, well, let her read. I don't want to disturb her. That's good. All right. Well, that's good. It's nice to have someone.
Hey, I'm talking about my cat, by the way.
Oh, your cat. Okay. So listen, I know pets are great. I had two cats. I don't have any pets now. All right. So how far away from the trailer park do you live?
I'm probably about 3 or 4 miles. I'm close enough to where if I have to get there quick, I can, but I never go there unless I have to. If I'm getting paid to be there, I'll be there.
Do you have, is there a big staff running the place or is it just you and the family?
It is me and my sister-in-law. That is it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Now
wow.
we have like handyman people to deal with. I used to have to crawl under those things and deal with busted pipes and all that. Thank God I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I can imagine that must not be too fun. What do you do for recreation now? I mean, you still perform music when your hand's not maimed, like you do something like that, moving your fridge.
That's pretty much it. I play all the time. I play and write music, and
Oh, good.
that sounds boring, but it's pretty fun.
Doesn't sound boring at all. It sounds great. It sounds like a wonderful life.
Yeah,
Well, being that you're so far away, seemingly removed from civilization, are you still able to travel? Do you have a moving vehicle? Do you have a car?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you're able to go to. I mean, are you close enough to civilization so that you can go to bars and clubs and perform or other venues like that?
Yeah, the last time I played was not even in a bar. It was at an art exhibit, which was pretty cool.
Okay, tell me about where was the art exhibit?
It was in the college town where I graduated, and we had a band playing traditional Indian music, and
Okay.
of course all the artsy people ate that up. It was fun.
When you say Indian, you mean from the country of India, right?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's fun music. I've had lots of Indian guests on my show, and they're amazing. And we get lots of views for those guests too, because there's a big camaraderie between the people who are from India and their relatives back in India, and also in the Indian community around here as well. But
Yeah, it's incredibly fun to play. The only thing is it's incredibly difficult to play.
well, you play Indian music too?
Yeah, a real Indian band in Austin for a few years.
No kidding. How many in the band?
4 of us.
Okay. Oh, I mean, you're obviously not an Indian, but I assume that some of the band members were, right?
Not a single one of us was actually Indian.
Oh, that's interesting. But you still played Indian music.
Yeah.
That must have made the natives feeling restless, I'm guessing, right?
I think they loved it because nobody else
Yeah,
was
that's what I mean.
playing.
They must have loved it.
Yeah. Nobody
Okay.
was playing traditional Indian music, and even in Austin back then.
Have you ever done anything else in entertainment? Have you ever done any acting? You look like you'd be a good actor. Somehow you look like you.
Uh.
I'm looking at you now, and I don't know if you ever watched the old Andy Griffith show, but there's a guy.
Sure.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. There's a little. I was watching it the other night, and there was a guy that's kind of like he was kind of like a leprechaun going around breaking windows and doing mischievous stuff in the town of Maybury. And
Oh, I don't remember it.
Oh, I know. It was an old episode going back to probably over 50 years ago. And I just happened to be at home and I turned it on. I was flipping through channels, and you'd be great at that. Have you ever done any acting at all? Any filmmaking or film acting or even play acting like in theater?
No, the closest I've come is working shows like that kind of thing, theater type stuff backstage. But no, I never thought I'd be any good at it. But
I bet
I
you
like
would be. You might want to try it. When you say working backstage, you mean like for plays and
yeah,
things like that?
lighting, yeah,
Lighting.
that kind of thing.
Okay, but you don't do that now, right? Or you haven't done it in a while.
No, since I moved out here about 4 or 5 years ago. I would not have done it by choice, but I was kind of given this house. It's hard to turn down a house,
It's like a nice room.
Yeah, it's a cool place. It just is in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But so all right. Well, have you ever done anything else? Like have you ever done any arts, any painting, drawing, writing, anything like that?
I used to draw, but as soon as I discovered music, it was all over. I became obsessed, and that has not changed.
That's great. All right.
I've got to tell you, I kind of enjoy giving lessons more than even playing now, to be honest.
That must be awesome. I mean, how many students do you have?
I only do right now. I've got 4 people, and not a single one of them are kids, which is great.
Oh yeah, I know.
Sometimes you'll get a kid that really latches on, and it's great, but 90% of the time it does not work out well.
Yeah, I know what that's like because I took piano lessons for 7 years as a kid, and I was very talented, so they told me, but I had a hard time staying with it and practicing when they wanted me to. Plus, if I did, the family was usually it was during the hours when people in my family were sleeping or doing other things, so they didn't want to. So it was kind of a double-edged sword. But I'll always love music, and I'll always be glad that I took lessons and learned to read notes and everything like that. But in terms of music yourself, are you self-taught or did you go to school for it?
Yeah, totally self-taught. I wasted about 10 years not learning anything really, and then I got fed up with that and got pretty serious about learning legitimately, and it's a work in progress still.
Okay. Well, aside from that, even though you're self-taught, did you ever try to advance your knowledge by taking lessons with somebody else or taking the courses anywhere?
No, because around the time I started getting serious about it is when the internet was blowing up, and you can find there's so many resources online. It's not even really necessary.
That's right. Why pay money for when you can take lessons online? Exactly.
Yeah, I can't understand why people even pay for guitar lessons anymore, but they still do.
Well, because personal attention is the human touch makes a lot. It's still warm to to be part of, and that's why I think it is.
True.
Yeah. So when you give lessons, do you go to people's homes? Do they come to you, or both?
Always over the phone, or I did have a teenage girl that a friend of a friend. We did that in person just because it was convenient.
Right.
And most of the time it's been over the phone and sending videos back and forth.
Oh, really? So you don't even do it. You really, except for that girl, you rarely do it in person, I guess.
Rarely, yeah.
Well, tell me about her. How talented is she? Is she good? And maybe we could get her on the show.
She was, but she lost interest. It was kind of heartbreaking because she was the best young student I think I've ever had.
Wow.
And she's a teenage girl. She got distracted, you know.
I know. Well, I mean, when I was a teenager, when I quit taking lessons, I was 13. I started when I was 6, and I quit when I was 13 and a half, and I'd fallen behind 3 years in my studies because I wouldn't practice because, I mean, I never felt I could be good enough to really make a living at it, but I always enjoyed it nevertheless. But my teacher he was a stickler. He was a perfectionist. He was one of the most talented piano players around. He passed away, unfortunately, but he played in a lot of restaurants. He played at many of our family functions. And he did very well. And he probably could have been world famous as a musician if he'd left Brockton, Massachusetts, where we live.
We've got some people like that here that are just immensely talented, but nobody's ever going to hear about them.
Well, why do you say that nobody's going to hear about them? If they want to pursue a career, they might have to do a little commuting, but they can still make something of it.
It's hard to explain. We've got some people that were in some formerly like pretty big situations 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I guess they just get settled in here because it is a nice place to live. Not necessarily my town, but where I went to college and stuff. And I guess people just because there is money to be made here. And if you can make a decent living playing music without leaving home, really, why do it? I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, if they're making money doing it, then they have a career, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
So, what about sports? Are you athletic at all? Have you ever played any sports?
No, the only sport that I keep track of is MMA, mixed martial arts stuff.
Okay. Well, have you ever done that?
Hell no.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You look like you can take care of yourself. How about football? Football's big down there. Are you a fan?
Football is huge, but I've never followed it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
but the weird thing is that down here, nobody watches pro football. It's all college football, obviously.
College is huge. I know in parts of that's because you don't have a pro team in Alabama.
Right. Yeah. No pro team would ever be able to compete with the University of Alabama.
Oh, the Crimson Tide, of course, they're the best.
I don't even know how good they are. I just know everybody that is around me completely loses their mind about it.
Oh, wow, they're famous. I mean, that's why when I posted today, I don't know if we're Facebook friends, but this morning when I posted, today I have a show to Alabama, which is you, and tomorrow I have at my other location, I'm interviewing someone in Mississippi, and a friend of mine on Facebook said, "Go Tide." So obviously, when he saw Alabama, because his daughter went to I don't think she went to Alabama, but she went to Clemson, which is also in Alabama. What?
Check this out, just for that. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just bought this before I got on with you.
Go ahead, bring it over.
I just got this for my stepdad for Christmas.
Wow.
See that?
It's a painting of something. What is it? Oh, it's a picture of, it looks like Kaya Stremski. No, it's not. Bear Bryant. It's Bear Bryant. Yeah.
Bear Bryant. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Of course. How could I not know Bear Bryant? The legendary coach of the Crimson Tide. Not anymore.
That's going to make his Christmas.
Good. Oh, you bought it for him or he bought it for you?
Oh, no, I bought it for him for Christmas. He's going to love it.
Well, obviously, he's a big fan. And that was a legendary team. He was a legendary coach. And so a lot of years in Alabama, he's spent his entire career coaching that team and won a few national championships. So,
yeah, I got lucky finding that.
Yes, you did. Well, guess what? We're down to the final 5 minutes of the show. I hope you had fun talking to me. I hope we covered all this. Yeah,
I didn't, well, 5 minutes is going to be too much, but I meant to even text you and tell you if you wanted to get into the UFO stuff, but that's for another time.
well, you can tell. Well, very quickly. What about UFO? Were you abducted by aliens?
No, man, I never got abducted. I don't think. But when we first moved out here about 5 years ago, we saw them every single night. Tons of them. I haven't seen one in a couple of years now, but
Right,
there for a
UFOs.
while.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if aliens are gonna fly over our world, they're gonna do it where the population is sparse, so so that they're not
Yeah.
gonna be seen as by people that are too curious about them and might want to blow them out of the sky.
I'm not convinced they were aliens, but we saw some pretty wild stuff.
Well, maybe I'll shoot down there sometime. I mean, Alabama's. I love the country life. Where I live, it's kind of like that. I mean, it's it's a city, but where I live, it's kind of a quiet neighborhood, which I'm happy about. All right. Well, you did a great job talking to me. You want to give shouts out to people that are going to see the show? You can start with. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you said you're going to give that to your father, the picture of Bear Bryant, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can give shout outs to.
How
Okay,
about-
two friends of mine's. Can I give shout outs about a friend's band?
Anyone you want.
Okay, out of Austin, Texas, Stop Motion Orchestra. Check those guys out. And out of Florence, Alabama, and Abstract Theory. Two
Was that a
friends'
band?
bands that are great.
Well, tell you what, if you had a good time with me on the show, then what you have my number now. Give them my number, and if they want to do the show, we can get them on. They can perform.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And if you want to come on again when your hand's better and perform, maybe that's a possibility as well.
Sure, I'd love it.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna wrap the show up. I'm gonna ask you one favor. Once we wrap the show up, would you stick around and do pictures? My tech guy will take a picture for Facebook. Are you on Facebook?
I'm not, but I don't mind taking pictures.
Yeah, it's good because that way, even though you're not on it, I can show the world that you were on my show. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, great. You did a great job. Before we wrap it up, is there anything that you want to mention about what might be coming up in your life that might be worth mentioning real quick? If not, that's fine. But I always ask every guest that.
Nah, not really. I hope it stays. I hope it stays boring.
Oh, good. Well, I hope it does too. I hope that those people, those nut jobs at your trailer park behave enough so that you don't have to you find yourself in the middle of something you can't control.
Yeah, you never know over there.
I know, I'm sure. All right, you get ready to wrap the show up the way we began it with the snapping? Okay. All right, folks, we're going to wrap the show up now. Take care. See you next time. Happy. If we're not, then maybe the week after, but have a happy Thanksgiving either way. Wrapping it up. Signing off and out.
Nothing.
Come on, bring the kitty up. Comes up.
She's curious, but she won't come up yet.
All right, that's all right.